Good afternoon, everybody. It's 3:32 p.m., July 2nd, 2023. Happy Independence Day weekend. But I wanted to follow up on some things. But before I do, please hit the thumbs up. I've got a lot of things to discuss. Sometime before I posted my last video about the sheriff suing law enforcement, my hen with the 3 baby chicks, who stays really close to the house, was wandering around literally within 20 feet of me. And this is what she does all day long. She just wanders around with her baby chicks. I know all of her little hideouts. I have not seen her now for 2.5 hours. This is highly unusual. Highly unusual. And I will attest to the fact that, and as you know, people are cloaked and trespass my property all the time. I could be in the nonprofit building and I'll come out and somebody will be in and out of my house, stealing things, vandalizing things, harming my animals. And that's what happens when you're under surveillance. When sheriff's departments allow the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Defense into their communities to run these unconstitutional, illegal programs against citizens that they have sworn to protect. And there's no due process. That's what is happening here in Jackson County, Kentucky. But it was happening in Manalapan, New Jersey as well. But here in this small town, I have clearly documented the atrocities and violations of law. And that hen would never walk away with 3 babies. So I'm going to say, for the record, that she was stolen on Sunday, July 2nd, 2023, in retaliation. And just because it's trauma-based mind control, and because these criminals will do anything to get a rise out of somebody, because their goal is to make me look crazy, to make you look crazy. The only one that's crazy are them. The only one that's crazy are my crazy neighbors that tear down gates, that fall into a ditch and get sent to the detention center. Yeah, that take bribes, you know. Those are the crazy people. People that tell the truth like you and I. They war against us because they fear us, because they are the ones that are performing illegal, unconstitutional acts against normal, and I'm going to use that word, normal, law-abiding citizens who have done nothing wrong. And there has been no due process to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that you or I have violated the law. And if we did, let's go to court. Let's have a jury of my peers, so we can prevent the evidence on both sides. So we can subpoena the people, the perpetrators, who we suspect that are perpetrating against us. That would be our legal right to do under due process. To subpoena people and question them. Send them interrogatories, which are written questions. But no, we're not permitted to do that. So now I wanted to follow up on the online forum that I was filing complaints. It just completely slipped my mind. It was Yelp, Y-E-L-P. I filed complaints on there about the assistant county prosecutor here, because she obviously doesn't know how to write a will, even when she has a copy in front of her that she can cut and paste into her own legal letterhead. I also filed a complaint against the Kentucky locksmith, the Central Kentucky locksmith. You know, that guy who researched me before he showed up, charged me $175 to not install a deadbolt. That's right. To not install a deadbolt, he charged me $175 here in rural Kentucky. the worst locksmith ever. So I just wanted to follow up on those two things. Why are people watch listed? Well, from what I've learned from you guys is for filing and winning a lawsuit, whether it's pro se or getting a divorce, for revenge, for pissing off an egomaniac narcissist, envy, jealousy, and greed, being smarter than my ex's lawyer, I had to add that, being truthful, being a woman, for their sadistic pleasure, for asset stripping and profit. And then I added this one, because I look better in a uniform than they do. And yes, folks, I can prove that as well. Because I don't say anything that I can't prove. And yes, I've got a photo of me in a uniform when I actually was in the best physical condition of my life. I think I was 55 years old before I became tortured in this program. So I wanted to follow up on that. Yes, we're watch listed for speaking the truth. And my hen better show up with her 3 babies, because I will be filing a sheriff's complaint today for all of the other things that were done to me from May 19th, from the intentional, and now I've got the wording from somebody who does this for a living, the intentional vandalism to my heating, my water heater mechanism. Those elements, the guy said it's obvious to him that they were vandalized. And he explained the reasons why. So folks, yeah, so $350 plus almost $400 worth of intentional vandalism to a 4-year-old heating unit. And this is nothing new. I mean, you've heard this before, folks. But thank you, Deb, for sending me the link to, and I want to read this. Where did it go here? It is, this was on the Rapporteur. This was several years ago. This is the UN Rapporteur, Nils Melzer, Nilsmelzer. He said, the United Nations has one courageous expert who's on the trail of several weaknesses in our global law enforcement system. These legal and investigative loopholes allow systemic harassment of our citizens. Such harassment inflicts loss of livelihood, loss of social circle, and loss of well-being on good people, all to satisfy the quote-unquote criminal minds. According to a recent report by Nils Melzer, and as discussed at the February 20th, 2020 proceeding at the United Nations, the practice can misuse medical implants, neurotechnological devices, weaponized psychology, and mobbing, all to achieve the utter destruction of any one individual. We cite from Mr. Melzer's report below to aid and support people who are going through these challenges. How are these crimes being committed? Well, for one thing, the experts find these practices are not limited to rogue states, but are rather easily wielded by corporate actors and organized criminals. That's right, folks. The organized criminals here in Jackson County, Kentucky. That means that it can be done for revenge, profit, or sadist entertainment. And these practices cause financial ruin and isolation by intimidation, harassment, surveillance, public shaming and defamation, as well as appropriation, deletion, or manipulation of information. The resulting powerlessness and silence are easily enforced by the use of torture, mobbing, cyberbullying, and state-sponsored persecution, depriving victims of any possibility to effectively resist or escape their abuse. In the good old USA, folks, in your hometown, right here in Jackson County, Kentucky. That's right, 803 population of 803 in my little town here. Finally, the misuse of high-tech devices allows severe mental suffering to be remotely inflicted by medical implants and conceivably nano or neurotechnological devices. The practices are not complicated. They rely on various human weaknesses and clearly thrive in authoritarian times. His presentations in a serious and severe manner warns of mobbing, threats, intimidation, and inducing phobias or inducing anxiety, all of which cause people to be unstable to work and frightens them away from help. The result is devastating. The report ends with the following paragraph. Challenges of new technologies. In order to ensure the adequate implementation of the prohibition of torture and related international legal obligations in present and future circumstances, its interpretation should evolve in line with new challenges and capabilities arising in relation to emerging technologies, not only in cyberspace, but also in areas such as artificial intelligence, robotics, nano and neurotechnology, or pharmaceutical and biomedical sciences, including so-called, quote-unquote, human enhancement. Sound familiar? Many people in the United States are presenting each of these situations, and many are increasingly getting our support to overcome these challenges. And with our help, we reach more people every day. October is Cyber Torture Justice Month. So be aware, folks. You are not alone. You are not alone. And the fact that, let me find it here. In my latest video on how to sue a Sheriff Leos for violating civil rights, state, and federal laws, it is the sheriff who is responsible for what is happening to targeted people at the local level. That means in your little hometown, in my little hometown, it is the sheriff who's responsible. And I can attest to the fact that our current sheriff was the deputy before. And I caught him surveilling my property diagonally across the street before those neighbors moved in. So he knew, well aware what was going on before he became the sheriff. And maybe he is a different person. He's younger. But he's still bowing to a county lawyer and is responsible for what is happening to targeted people at the local level. The sheriff is responsible for allowing these unlawful programs to run against their citizens with no due process. The sheriff is responsible for protecting the constitutional rights of their citizens. I'm going to add all of their citizens, period. Lawsuits should be brought against the sheriffs. They are allowing the FBI, the DHS, the DOD into their communities to run these unconstitutional programs against the citizens that they sworn to protect with no due process. The sheriff is supposed to be the law of the land. The complaint, you file a complaint. You file a complaint with a claim for relief. The complaint must allege facts upon which the claims are based. The complaint must allege the damages, dollar amounts, folks, punitive damages, real damages, emotional damages, all damages, and a request for relief, which is usually a huge monetary sum with no gag order. Then a summons is a notice to the other party to let them know that they are being sued. So, folks, if you are a targeted person on the local level, and this is why so many targeted people have attempted to sue the federal government. Well, when the federal government places you on the list, it's out of their hands. Where does it go? Your name is on the list, and it goes out to all the rogue agencies, and it goes out to the sheriff's departments, and it goes to the cops programs, these little criminals on patrol. It goes to your Freemason lodges. It goes to all your Christian Appalachian Project camps. It goes to all the local people. Everybody's got their little hands in the kitty. Money funnels down from the state into the local communities. But it is the sheriff who can say, no, I don't want this in my town. Goodbye. That's right, folks. They can say no. They are above the county prosecutor. They are above their police officers. They are above their deputies. And I believe on some level they may even be equivalent to or above the Attorney General. I'd have to look that up. Don't quote me on that. They may be along the same lines. I don't know. But there you go, folks. My hen is missing with 3 of her baby chicks. Another baby chick was stolen out from under a mama hen this week, out of the chicken coop. It was stolen out from under a mama hen, under her, on her nest, inside a coop. This is how evil it is here in Jackson County, Kentucky. And I'm going to say it for the record. I know that this program happens everywhere, but Julian McKee said something in, and let me just get to that video and read what she said. That video is the one that is strong, independent women are targeted and feared by weak, envious men who become predators. So Julian McKee, rest in peace, she says, this has been a comment that I made to her. She says, you said that if you move, you will be successful. Be advised that this country is divided into TI, meaning targeted individual, focused operational sectors. And if you're a TI, you are centrally tracked and hence subject to continuing harassment wherever you go. However, my question, I wish she were alive. And if anybody knows the answer to this question, please leave a comment down below. She said that this country is divided into TI-focused operational sectors. They must be located in every state and in all the big cities, and obviously a little teeny-weeny town like this. But I guarantee there are not TI-focused operational sectors in every town, in every city. So I would like to know, if anybody knows how this country is divided into TI-focused operational sectors, where those operational sectors may proliferate and where they might not be. Do they focus around an Air Force base, an Army depot, a camp? Do they focus around a lot of vacant homes? Where do these operational sectors focus? Where does the money funneled into? Is it in the wealthy communities? It is in the very poor communities? I would like to know. Because I'm going to tell you flat out that this is the most evil place I have ever lived in my life. Is evil to the core. What's happening to me here is depraved and sick. And I know it follows you wherever you go. But I'm sure there are some places that are not going to be as depraved and sick as this. The people around here are inbreds. They're sick. They teach their children to be criminals. And right now, that's just like my little rant here. But I'm curious, folks, if this country is divided into TI-focused operational sectors, and also I've heard from others that the country is divided in thirds. 1/3 of us are the truthers. 1/3 are the gang stalkers. And the other third are in between. They don't go either way. That is a lot, folks. That's a good reason to not trust people. If 1/3 of the entire country are these criminals, there's 1 in 3 people that you're going to meet every day that's going to be one of them. That's 1 in 3. That's right, folks. But this is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. Welcome, newcomers. Happy Independence Day weekend. Just remember what this country was originally built on. And thank you to all the veterans that actually fought for that freedom, for that independence. For those of you that are still living, you are probably as angry and disappointed as I am. But that's what happens when you've got the lunatics are running the asylum. The psychopaths are running the country. That's right, folks. They're running these programs too. And thank you to all those FBI whistleblowers. I'm looking so forward to the others coming out, and one of them wrote a book. I'm sure it's going to be a bestseller. This is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. Please leave your comments down below, and I will talk to you in the next video. Please say in your prayers for my hen and her 3 babies. 2.5 hours is a long time for me to not see her walking around. And if she doesn't show up soon, I'll be filing another sheriff's report for all the things that have happened in the last month. I'm signing off for now.